Welcome to my sacred space. Last video I shared the introduction I had with Alexor, a Lemurian being of light. And so I'm going to share with you today how having a relationship with this being of light has changed my life. And one of the biggest ways is the understanding of science, the understanding of healing, of energy, vibration, how our electromagnetic fields, our emotions, which are also a form of energy and communication, as well as our thoughts and our actions based on those thoughts or emotions. Not only did I receive an advanced teaching, and still am, from Alexor, the Lemurian being, but what my mind or my intellect could not understand, my eyes would take in the information, and then I would understand it on a level of intuition. And then it would get translated for my mental body. So sometimes we don't understand something. We feel it first, and then we understand it because it basically communicates through all of us into our mental body, and then we start understanding it. So things that I had no knowledge of prior to Alexor, and also things that I had knowledge about in the ability to see loved ones on the other side, energy, sacred geometry, etc. My base of knowledge expanded beyond comprehension with, and continues to, with being a conduit for Alexor and the Universal Council, if you will, that is comprised of all beings inclusive of my personal spirit council. So what started happening, which I had no idea would prior to this, and if you haven't seen the introduction to Alexor or how I met him, I invite you to really take some time to watch the previous video, because it'll give you great insight into our connection. When groups would gather, and still to this day, when groups gather, I started being told, so not only was my spirit involved in the agreement to be a conduit for Alexor, but also my humanity was experiencing everything as well. So what my humanity started to experience is that people were coming up to me literally after and saying, I've healed from one individual. I remember at the very beginning came to a gathering, and he had a detached retina, and through Alexor's toning, and I'll talk about that in a moment, apparently his eye was healed right there and then. And so he came up to me and shared that with me, and then other people shared that their rashes were healed. Whatever it was that somebody arrived with that was either out of balance or not healed or in chaos and in trauma on a cellular level, with Alexor toning and communicating, many individuals would come up to me after and say, I'm healed, or I would hear about it a week or two after that a healing had occurred. So you can imagine in my humanity that, and in my spirit, that I was and still am deeply grateful for the opportunity to be a conduit, even in the tiniest form of healing for anyone or anything, and to have it be on such a big scale was truly a gift, and something that I had to allow myself a process to go through, to embody and experience as not only something that I was allowing to happen to others, but to myself as well. I experienced tremendous healing, and still do, with Alexor. And the toning. The toning is, unbeknownst to me, that the toning, when I say unbeknownst, is that I started to be a conduit for Alexor, and after questions were posed and answered, this toning came through my vocal cords, and it was so strong and held so many octaves at one time, and it was once described as standing in the face of a jet engine, that many people throughout the years, and I've been a conduit for Alexor, I think for about, I want to say 14 years. And so many individuals have experienced healing or clarity or awakening or a heart, I shouldn't say or, but and a heart expansion. And so I started to experience mind, body, emotional body, and mental body clarity, healing, understanding, and really grasping concepts that were far beyond my, well, even my inquiry, but because because they were brought up in the scope of dialogue with Alexor, because I was a conduit for Alexor and still am for scientists, for doctors, for children, for parents, for teachers, for all people, male, female, and all ages. And I've even traveled extensively so that individuals could gather and with Alexor and receive whatever it is in their free will they desire. And so I physically, visually, and intellectually started to understand and feel the essence of healing, how it works, why it works, how it's sustained and ongoing. And my ability to see the cellular energy became stronger, and the ability to communicate when not being a conduit for Alexor, just in my daily life, has expanded, and the database, if you will, that I am has expanded along with it. And so Alexor has brought to my life healing and awarenesses on not only what I've shared, but on a planetary level, on an astronomy level, on so many levels that I had not inquired with before. And the joy and the love that I feel every day in the biggest of ways also expanded with Alexor and continues to expand. And I have to say, out of all the frequencies, the vibrations, visually and otherwise, that I have interacted with and cooperated with, love is the one, I'm going to say, equation of light that remains the universal language that any illness, any trauma, and any hardship energetically responds, relates to, and communicates with love. And that is everything. And so I thank Alexor and the Universal Council of the Most High for all of the teachings and the healings and the experiences that have been out of this world, quite literally at times, that I have experienced myself in a way that it's basically become a part of the fabric of who I am. And there's been a lot of laughter, a lot of tears, and mostly, and most importantly, a tremendous amount of wisdom and knowledge that has affected the lives of many individuals. Thank you for joining my journey. The next time you feel called internally by a blade of grass, a flower, a dream, something untangible, something not necessarily that you can physically validate, I invite you to trust it and to communicate with it, because most likely it's a message for you, about you, and with you. Blessings. Bye for now.